Hello and welcome to Great Escape Games. I'm Tasha.
I'm Zack.
We don't have a witty joke for this one, it's just dark.
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate.
Today we're going to be talking about Alice is Missing, a tabletop role-playing game that's a little less tabletop and a little more phone-top.
Sending text to your friends has never been more interesting with this state-of-the-art run game.
This semi-DM-less or moderator-less game is set in Northern California, a winter circa 2012.
You're all back in high school. Imagine it. The breeze is coming in, the fall setting is just ending, you're going into that winter. You're waiting for vacation, you're about to hang out with friends and texting each other. If that's what you did back then, I don't know. But tragedy strikes.
As one of your friends goes missing right before winter break, the moderator takes on the role of
Charlie Barnes.
Returning after having moved away when their family split, wondering where Alice has gone missing to. As Charlie reaches out to Alice's closest friends, they reach out to Evan Howell, Julia North, Jack Briarwood, and Dakota Travis. You can take on these personas as Jack Briarwood, the older brother, Dakota Travis, the best friend, Julia North, the secret girlfriend, and Evan Howell, the one with the crush.
But, as you will soon discover, all is not well in Silent Falls. Deep within the secrets of Franklin High are many suspects and locations that you can visit throughout your journey as prompted inside these cards.
General gameplay consists of having timer cards that prompt you to write certain things, revealing certain suspects and or locations that Alice could be at, or interfered with by, such as J.C. Waller, the creeper, David Nelson, the popular kid, Mr. Halvert, the history teacher, Ryan Grossing, the ex-boyfriend, Bria Brown, the bully.
After you choose one of your characters to take the place of, you'll be prompted with a voicemail as well as a relationship. The voicemail is supposed to be what you did the night that Alice went missing. When was the last time you saw her? What was it that you called her and left her voicemail when she wasn't able to respond? As well as the relationship is your relationship with Alice. How do you feel towards her? What would you do for her? And a bunch of other things that would be prompted during the initial and at some point entire adventure.
Part of these prompts will be also on your character sheet, but one of the things you can do is you'll be given personality cards and motivation cards. These are little prompts for you to kind of give your current mood and attitude toward Alice, and then 2 respective relationship points that you have with 2 of the other characters that you can assign as part of creating your characters, but more or less getting to know each other at the table and making new relationships for each game. Then you have locations that Alice might be missing at: the Silent Hill Falls train station, Callista Rivers State Park, the Dripping Dagger nightclub, the old barn on Cambridge Street, and the lighthouse on Howling Sea Cliff.
When you're ready to start your game, you'll be handing out your time cards, one for each person, slowly going down until there's no much time left. Charlie Barnes starting with the 90-minute card. Then it goes down to 80, 70, 60, 50, 45, 40.
As tension increases.
35, 30, 20, and then the last 10 minutes of the game.
Which is never passed down until right at the end. There are 3 options of each card, but you'll be only passing out one of each, providing for different scenarios each game.
A small amount of replayability can actually change a lot inside this game, as each prompt will interact with each other and shift depending on how the conversation goes. The one major rule of the game is that no characters can interact with each other in person. By that, if if two characters were at the same location, supposedly, they will never be able to find each other there, as they're all too busy scrambling looking for Alice. So that way, everything must be pertained within that chat, whether it's text or Discord or whatever have you that you started up with.
One of the key facets of this game is to change your name in chat and to not talk once the music starts playing. This game does come with a provided timer / music playlist that carefully orchestrates the tension at the table.
If ever you find yourselves at a small impasse in the game, not knowing what to type to each other, there's always the search cards, which will have items that you find wherever you are. This kind of prompts a new conversation as how they could be correlated to the case.
But be careful, using too many of these could thoroughly disrail the game, leading you under too many red herrings. At the end of the game and the timer has rung, you'll get one final message to sum up what has happened to your character. At this time, you'll go over the debriefing card, kind of checking in, seeing what you thought of the game, if there's any resolutions you want to wrap up, and generally coming to a consensus at the table, what has actually happened to Alice. At this point, you would then play your recordings that you made at the beginning of the game, seeing how well your opinion has changed from start to end.
But just remember, this isn't an everyday Scooby-Doo type adventure. Though you are high schoolers, the topics and conversations here do get a little dark from time to time.
If anything comes up that you were uncomfortable at the table with, there is the X card provided. Simply point at it or write an X in chat and move on to the next subject. So if you are wary of such topics, please look through the clue cards and pull out any ones you think might be inappropriate for your group.
Especially if you are Charlie Barnes. You are the one who should know the rules decently well inside this game, and therefore have a little bit more sway over which cards you think would be okay or not.
Yes. That is the most fascinating part about this game. There isn't per se a DM, but there is an orchestrator, taking on the role of Charlie Barnes. But it allows you to interact the game the same way the other players are, with the one responsibility of making sure everyone looks at their clue cards on time.
Though you're given these relationships and these names, your character is entirely your own. The only thing that's truly dictated for you is your relationship with Alice, but how that relationship forms and how it functions is mostly up to you. A secret girlfriend that might exist may be actually quite upset with Alice if she felt that she wasn't being spoken to enough, or has been having some hardships in the last few days, rather than the usual caring that one might come with that.
The characters are entirely your own. A simple suggestion about knowing different members in town can lead into entirely different trains of thought, different ways to approach the problems. If you, for say, happen to be the child of one of the teachers at the school, maybe if you pull a history card, that's going to change how you talk about this character, or maybe what kind of information you can gather.
Being able to spontaneously create things inside this town that, though has a few locations and a few suspects, can drastically change the conversation and the entire game. A spontaneous creation of a character or a concept, a small thing as though you're in high school, you still have a job and therefore work at a grocery market, making it kind of hard to pick up clues, but you skipped work for today to make sure that you find Alice. Though you can still go in and ask your boss if someone interesting has showed up, who might correlate to your case.
This RPG is a truly unique experience where it is heavy on the role play and less on the game mechanics. This form of game, though, could be extrapolated to other games if you wanted to mess around with it, change out the cards, and tweak it to your will. It is also a format that doesn't use dice or other mechanics to solve issues. You have to resolve them yourself in-game amongst the other people telling the story with you.
One or two of the cards will prompt you to flip a coin, and though the result of those can be varied, it is up to you to describe how the result functions. Other than that, any problem solving or anything that might happen is entirely up to you.
It has the wonderful blend of those old post-by-play RPGs without mechanics, the ones that were entirely just people talking, and enough mechanical root to it without it being entirely freeform and people getting lost or the story has jumped 2 weeks ahead even though you just got a chance to catch up on your computer after school.
So, because you're all high schoolers and whatnot, there isn't really combat mechanics. Never in a time where you pull out a grid or roll dice to see how a fight ends up. It's all about how you describe your character and how they would interact with whatever's happening around them. Also, the hurdles that show up in front of your character are also mostly of your own design. So know that going into it. It's not exactly for people who are looking for combat or anything like that. Though your character might be an aggressive jock in your eyes, combat is strictly dictated by how you think that your character would handle it.
This is definitely for people who enjoy Fiasco or some of the finer details of Fate without the dice.
Final review!
This game is a wonderful game that can be played at the table and remotely. It's going to provide two different experiences that way. One is a lot more immersive, but the other one lets you play off people's expressions and inside jokes looking across the table. It depends on the kind of experience you're looking for.
The game is heavily set in RP, and if your party really enjoys that and less about the combat, then we say this is probably one of the best games to pick up for you.
One of the things that I also found, if your friends all have headphones, you can play this game on the go. Very few RPGs could be done that way. This one, if you put in the headphones, listen to the timer, and know what your cards are in advance, you could play this while grocery shopping.
Another small benefit is that there's not much of a DM or orchestrator for the game other than Charlie Barnes, who, other than handing out the cards and understanding how the rules function, doesn't really require much training at all. The game is easy to slip into and doesn't require much time to get it started.
Yeah, maybe 30 minutes reading the book, flipping over cards, that's all you need to get going. Maybe 10 minutes tops to explain the rules to everyone else and get the recordings done. So yes, as much as the game has a listing, I believe, of 3 hours online, that's including reading the rules and getting started. The game itself is 90 minutes, and then maybe another 30 minutes to get set up, both ending and beginning.
Maybe an extra 5 to 10 for closing thoughts and whatnot.
Or if you have new players. If you've definitely done this once before, you can jump in very, very quickly. Cons, I would say, are it's not a battle system. So if you're looking for that epic encounter where you're gonna fight the big dragon and save all the day, that's not what this game is about. This game is a deep dive about very narrow characters in a small town just trying to survive.
Which also brings up the kind of scope for the game. You'll always be searching for Alice, you'll always be encountering certain hurdles, and you'll always be high school kids. Other than that, though, there is a good number of replayability, but if you're looking for something more expansive, it may take a little bit of time for that to come out.
On the other hand, Hunter Entertainment has provided all of the resources, both the digital and physical, available to you. If you want to test out this game on their website, they have those resources for you. They have a print and play copy, they have a Roll20 copy, and they have my personal favorites, the hard copy. They also have a Discord server, but it's not a copy, it's just a setup to play the game. I would actually recommend the Discord server in combination with the hard copy. I think it probably provides the most satisfying experience.
Being able to jump out of your character and put in out of character quotes is sometimes useful for the game.
Being able to look across the table and make an expression really adds this element to the game, and it's a great way to show people, especially newer players who maybe get lost in what's a character and what's table talk. It's a clear distinction. You know whatever's on your phone is in actual game and in character, and anything above table is above table. Also, in that same manner, this is a great way to teach someone what the responsibilities of a DM are like. This, I am a character, but not, but am. is something that it's a nice way to dip your toes into taking on the responsibility of orchestrating and running a game, but still getting to play in it in the same way that you would the other players.
As well as a relatively good introduction to RP in general. If someone's a little shy about maybe stepping out of their own shoes to go play a character for an RPG, and instead of tossing them into D&D or Pathfinder or what you have at your table, maybe try a game or two of Alice is Missing so they can get more comfortable with maybe pretending to be someone other than themselves.
Especially if you include the whole party at the time, considering the short run time, you could do this as almost like a zero session just to meet each other. Thank you for joining us here at Great Escape Games. I hope you have a great day.
Take it easy.
Bye.